We got some shocking contract details to go over. The Ravens continue to be all in and more aggressive than I can ever remember. We also hear directly from Diontae Johnson on why he didn't want to enter the game for the Ravens. I'll give my thoughts on that. And we hear from Anquan Boldin on the OGs podcast telling some really interesting stories about that Ravens defense. We're covering all that today and more in this episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. We got more contract details that were released today, and I went over Rashad Bateman's contract in detail on the last video, but now we have Jaire Alexander's contract, John Jenkins, and that Derrick Henry extension, which is very interesting. So let's dive into those. Jaire Alexander's contract's pretty straightforward, fully guaranteed, 1 year, $4 million. It's a straight 1 year deal. There's no void years added. He received a $2 million signing bonus, a $2 million base salary, and the 2025 cap hit will be $4 million. Also includes $2 million in playing time incentives. So pretty straightforward contract. As is the John Jenkins deal. It's 1 year, $1.75 million, and only $325,000 of that is guaranteed. No void years there either. But here's the interesting one. Derrick Henry's 2025 cap hit number is now $8.5 million, creating $4.4 million in cap space. His 26 cap number then goes down and is only $5.6 million. It then jumps to $16 million in 27, and there will be $10.5 million in dead money in 2028 due to void years. So then I wanted to go back and look at Ronnie Stanley's deal because I know we were pretty aggressive with void years on that deal, and it's the same year that we get hit. So Ronnie Stanley and Derrick Henry will not be on the team in 2028. It is the start of the void years, and Ronnie Stanley carries $20.2 million in dead money, and Derrick Henry has $10.5 million in dead money. And we added void years to Marlon Humphrey's contract when we restructured him. Now those void years kick in 1 year early in 2027, but that's still about $18 million total. So starting in 2027 and then in 2028, the Ravens are going to get hammered with dead cap money. I mean, we're looking at least $30 million off the books for guys that won't even be on the team. That's how aggressive the Ravens are structuring these contracts. Now, this is straight out the Eagles' playbook. I mean, they have been doing this with void years for a little bit now, and it obviously just worked. They won the Super Bowl. But the Ravens are all in. I mean, this is as all in as I've ever seen them, because down the road, there will be consequences with cap hits. I know the cap will go up, but you still don't want to be paying 30 plus million to guys that just aren't even on the roster, you know, just because you needed them 3 years prior. But that's what the Ravens are doing right now. And I'm not mad at it by any means. I think the Ravens do have an incredible window, especially with Derrick Henry. He's not going to be able to play forever. So the Lamar Jackson window will extend for sure past the Derrick Henry era. But right now with Derrick Henry, with this defense, with as loaded as we are, you know, this is the best roster we've had in a long time. I'm fine with going all in like this. I really am. But just know that the Ravens are going to have to look different 3 to 4 years from now. They won't be able to have this stacked of a roster unless they just, you know, absolutely knock every draft pick out of the park, or most of the draft picks, which they usually do. So we definitely will still be very competitive. I still think we'll be a contender. I'm not saying we're headed towards some rebuild or anything, but there's no way we're going to be able to be as aggressive, you know, 3-4 years from now. I just think that this dead cap money is going to make us have to be a little bit more conservative down the road. Now, there are some ways to keep avoiding it or lessen the blow, and that would be to release them before their contract's over, and then the void year money spreads out over a couple years rather than 1 year. It doesn't hit all at once. So that is one way to absorb the blow if we release Derrick Henry a year early, or if he retires, or if we release Ronnie Stanley a year early. There's dead cap money that will hit, but the void year money spreads out then. It doesn't all come the year after. So that's one way to kind of get around it. Another way is to extend those players, but with a Derrick Henry and Ronnie Stanley and even a Marlon Humphrey, I just don't see that really being the way out. You know, maybe Marlon Humphrey gets an extension because he'll be a free agent after next year, but I don't think that we're going to extend Derrick Henry and Ronnie after their 3-year contracts are up. That doesn't make sense. They're going to be a lot older, so that's probably off the table. You can structure your other deals to be backloaded so that they have lower cap hits, while these void years kick in, and then their cap hits balloon in the future. There's ways around it, but regardless, you're gonna have to pay up. There's no way to just get rid of it. So we have a lot of low cap hits right now to make this roster as stacked as it is. And we're pretty much at the cap limit right now. We technically have $14.9 million in salary cap space, but the effective cap space after all the expenses that are coming, Mike Green and all the practice squads and all that, we're only going to have $1.4 million. Now, we always could clear more if we need to make another move, but I would say the Ravens are pretty much done. Obviously Lamar Jackson extension might come, a Tyler Linderbaum extension might come. You can, restructure Roquan Smith or Matabike and move some money around to create more room if you need to go make a move, but I don't see the Ravens making another big move at this point. I think we've already made a lot. The Ravens roster is extremely stacked. And like I said, I'm happy that we're going all in. I do think that we have a 1 to 2 year window here with the Derrick Henry Lamar combo. Derrick Henry still, at the back end of his prime, but obviously is still in his prime. He's put 1,900 yards up last year. So I definitely think there's incentive to go all in. I'm not against this strategy. We haven't been this aggressive ever. And we're being extremely aggressive. When I saw this Derrick Henry void year number, I was like, man, 2028, we're going to have $30+ million in dead cap money. And, there's just nothing you can really do. That's like having a superstar wide receiver on your roster, but he's not there. So we're not going to have Derrick Henry or Ronnie Stanley, but we're still going to be paying $30 million just to have them have low cap hits now. So I get the strategy. Actually for the strategy. I just am shocked a little bit that we are being this aggressive. I'm surprised that this is the route that we went, but let's go win a Super Bowl. Moving on to the next topic, we heard from Diontae Johnson. I'm sure you guys have seen this floating around, but I wanted to give my thoughts on it. Diontae Johnson went on a podcast and talked about the Baltimore situation, and this is what he had to say.
I wasn't getting into no run plays, no passing plays, no nothing.
Wasn't it cold as shit, you said?
Yeah, it was cold. So I'm on the sideline, just standing there, just going to the heater back and forth, just waiting to hear my name called.
Yeah.
So, fourth, end of third, going into the fourth or whatever. They're like, Tay, we need you. I'm like, nah, I don't think it's I don't think it's a good idea for me, because I was thinking about my legs. I don't want to go out there and put bad stuff on film.
Right.
And it's not like I didn't want to go in the game, but you got to think, leading up to this point, I done been through so much. And
like you said, man, you were kind of checked out.
Yeah, I checked out mentally. I was like, whatever happens, happens. I was just rolling with the punches at that time. So I told him I wasn't going in. I was like, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not going to go in. So I just sat on the bench. And then that's when they suspended me.
It's as bad as we thought. I thought that maybe when he told his side of the story, there would be some extra detail. Back then when it was happening, I remember half the fan base was split, where half the fan base was just on Diontae Johnson, this is ridiculous behavior. And the other half was the coaches should have put him in more. It's all the coach's fault. Harbaugh needs fired. And then you hear his side of the story, and it's on him, man. It's 41 degrees. That's not even cold at all. Have you played football in cold weather? It feels good out there, man. Unless it's below 30 or below 20, you're still sweating, man. I would be sweating in pads at 41 degrees out there running around. And I get that he's saying his legs were cold and probably stiff because he's just standing on the sideline. So I understand that. But start going on jogs, start running around, warm up. Or go sit by a heater and just warm your body up. It's not even that cold though, for one, but regardless, you can get your legs warmed up. It takes a minute or two. Just start doing some sprints up and down the sideline and get your legs back and then be like, all right, cool. This is my opportunity. They need me right now. The players are like, we need you. And he's like, nah, my legs are stiff. I'm cold. I don't want to put bad film out there. Come on, man. It is as bad as we thought. This is bad. I fully resolve any blame for pretty much anyone but Diontae Johnson. I don't think that was a good move. There's no way he thinks it's a good move. I'm shocked that he went out on a podcast and revealed this. But I respect the honesty. You know what I mean? I always respect honesty and transparency. So good for him to even talk about it genuinely, because I know this is what happened. And so I'm glad he came out and talked about it. But I'm shocked that he came out and talked about it, because I don't know if that was something I did, I might not want to go out and publicly talk about that. I might just be like, all right, I can never do that again. That was a weak-minded moment, but it happened, and that'll always be a funny, interesting little couple-week journey that we had, because we were on a high, man. We traded for Diontae Johnson for his 7th-round pick. The fan base was ecstatic, including me. Like, I even made a video called the Ravens just made a genius move. And obviously not. But it was a low-risk move. It didn't come to bite us at all. You know, it didn't backfire. I guess a little bit of drama backfired, but I'm just saying it's not like Diontae Johnson brought the team down or anything. I think this is a tight-knit team. They can withstand little things like that. But very interesting to hear his side of the story. Speaking of stories, I watched Anquan Boldin on the OGs podcast, and he had some really interesting stories about that Ravens defense when he first came to Baltimore.
I get to Baltimore, and like you said, like in Arizona, we ran the practice offensively. Like our offense dominated. But when I got to Baltimore, like it was just the opposite.
Yeah.
And I remember getting to training camp, and the defense just was punking the offense.
You ain't
like
that.
I'm talking like hitting dudes late, like.
Yeah.
I'm talking like, I'm like, bro, what's going on? Like, what? So I remember.
Like they say, we don't need you anyway.
Bro, I remember, but the head coach, he was a defensive coach.
Yeah.
So he loved that crap.
Loved it.
So I remember, we were in training camp in Westminster. And I remember, like, it happened a couple of times, like, defense was cheap shot in the offense.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait. Say, bro, let me tell y'all. Boy, if one of y'all hit me late, I'm going to stop practice.
Yeah.
Like, all together, and I guarantee you're not walking off this field by yourself.
Yeah.
You do to me what you just did to Buddy, and bruh's going down. Like that.
Oh, I know that
because
defense love that too.
I wasn't used to defense running the practice, but like, I'm like, bro, you can't just cheap shot.
And there was some savages over there on the other side, too.
No, they had some dogs.
Savages
I'm
over there.
talking about, like, bro, the defense was legit. Bro,
Yeah,
I'm
there
like,
was some savages
bro,
over there.
We gonna fight, though.
You got to.
You got
Bro,
to.
you do that to me,
Win,
we
lose, or draw,
fighting,
you
bro.
got to,
Like,
yeah.
I don't
Iron
care,
sharp as
like,
iron.
Bro, I would mess up the whole team. Like,
Iron sharp as
you're not gonna
iron.
walk off this field on your own power if you do that to me.
As you should.
Man, them dudes love that.
I know
Like,
they did.
defense love that. Like, so it got them hyped. Like, oh man, we got a dog on offense. Like, let's go rock.
Man, I miss Anquan Boldin. I love the energy and mindset that he brought to the Ravens, and obviously this story, you know, shows that times 10, but you can see it out there on the field. Like, Anquan Boldin was always a dog. Contested catch monster, just played pissed off, played like a Raven on offense, you know, and you don't always get that. And I definitely think that he changed that offensive mentality a little bit to stand up to the defense. Because like he said, the defense was punking the offense when he got there. And I get it. You know what I mean? You got legends over there on the defense. Terrell Suggs, Haloti Ngata, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. You got legends over there. And the offense was solid, but I don't think you had any dogs like that were just, you know, standing up to those guys, trying to lay them out too. But Boldin was that guy, and the defense there respects that too, you know, and then they rally together even more. Like, you need guys like that. And then we go and win a Super Bowl. It was just an awesome time. And then we unfortunately had to let Boldin go because we were in such a terrible cap situation that we had to trade Anquan Boldin again. That was a guy that I would love to see retire with the Ravens. We could have kept Anquan Boldin forever. I'm usually all right with some guys that we let go, even if they're really good. I understand it's a business and you just can't pay everyone. And, you know, we only keep the greats, right? Like, the Ravens don't pay top dollar for somebody that's kind of middle of the road, and they're usually not going to overpay for many people. But Anquan Boldin was never middle of the road. That was one guy that I was like, just keep, man, no matter what. Like, you got to keep a guy like that. But we didn't, and then we kind of had a average wide receiving core a little bit for the next few years until we got like Steve Smith, and then it turned around a little bit. But the Ravens really didn't have any great success after that Super Bowl until this Lamar Jackson era, and we're still seeking another one. So that's it for today. Let me know what you guys are thinking about everything. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.